Hello, are you here to debate?
Yes.
All right. Can I just get your name, age, and pronouns, please?
You can call me
Okay. What's your
I'm
age and
20.
pronouns?
I can't hear
20.
anything.
You said you're 20.
Yes.
Okay. And your pronouns?
I don't. I'm female.
Okay. That doesn't tell me anything, but all right.
So basically, I wanted to say that the epitome of white feminism is gender ideology.
Okay. Is it? Then why are black trans women the most likely to receive gender violence?
The entire concept of gender ideology is just regressive and like Eurocentric. Basically,
What? Do you know how colonialization destroyed gender concepts in Africa? Because if you did, I don't think you'd be saying this. There are multiple African nations and African civilizations that did not prescribe to a white Eurocentric view of a two gender binary. And then colonialization happened and forced them into that. So, how would allowing people to go back and break this two gender binary be regressive and be white feministic in nature?
listen, cultural ideas of what gender should be, of what people of whatever sex should act as, that's regressive.
No one's
If you
saying that the genders
look,
have to act a specific way, friend. No one's making that claim.
what?
No one's making the claim that genders have to act a specific way.
Yeah, I know, but saying whatever society, like culture says, is like irrelevant. Like in the long run, we're all humans, either male or female. There's two sexes in biology, okay? One, the female sex is the sex that has the bigger gametes, and the male sex is the one that has the smaller gametes. That's it
But we're
in
not talking about
mammalian
sex. We're talking
biology.
about gender.
And yeah, that's I'm getting to that. So like gender on top of that is just all made up. It's just boxes that they're shoving people into. You don't have to act a specific way just because you're born male or female. And like these boxes are just like oppressive towards the female sex, and we should just like abolish them. We don't need gender.
You believe we should abolish gender as a whole.
Yeah, just the only thing that matters is our biological sex. You can have any personality you want. I'm a girl, but my favorite color is blue. That doesn't make me a boy.
Yeah, I wouldn't say your favorite color being a blue makes you a boy. I think what you consider regressive is you arguing against something nobody's claiming. When I say that there are gender categories, those categories are dictated by neurobiology, not by like some arbitrary you have to wear dresses and think ponies are pretty. It's by your brain's subconscious perception of how your sex is oriented in your body and whether or not your gender identity, which is something that we have some evidence of existing in our our neural pathways, your gender identity aligning or disaligning with this sex.
I'm pretty sure that study has been debunked
What
because
study? Because it's not a
first of all,
study,
like
it's a theory. It's
saying that
gender
our
wash
brain
theory.
has a specific sex, like first of all,
I've
the
never said our
male
brains.
brain
I've never
only
said our
resembles
brains.
the female
I
brain
have
if the
never. I
cohort
did
is
not say.
homosexual.
Okay, I need you to do something for me. Right now, you're in debate mode where all you're doing is trying to pin down arguments that I'm not even making. I didn't claim that our brain was sexed. I claimed that our brain has innate perceptions of our sex and how that sex orients into our body. And that innate perception is called gender identity. You're doing this thing where you're just picking on certain words and going through. You go, well, I think that study was debunked, but
KYZack
you don't
underscore
know what
DB
study I'm
donated
talking about
$15.
because I'm not talking about a specific study. I'm just talking about our general understanding of how gender works in neurobiology. Now, if you want to have an abolition stance on gender, I think that's fine. But human brains categorize information. It's just how they work. We specifically put things into schemas. This includes the sexes. This includes creating gender categories. It's just how the brain works. You can say that gender expression should not be limited to each category, and I would agree with you. I don't think our gender expression should be inherently tied to any of the specific gender categories. That does not make those gender categories not existent in our neurobiology, or not in our neurobiology, in like in a neurosocial way.
My biggest like problem though is female rights being taken away from the female sex.
There have been 0 female rights taken away. None. What right did you have that you don't have anymore?
The right to female-only spaces.
That's
the
not
right
a right.
That's
not a right. That's not a right anybody
organizing
has.
Against
nobody
oppression
has. Just real quick, nobody has a right to a space dictated only for them. That doesn't exist. That's a privilege. You might have a privilege to a female-only space from time to time, but nobody has a right to a space. So I want to know what rights are being taken away.
No,
what
you don't.
could you do that you can't do?
Geneva Convention, like it's a human right for there to be separate position for males and females, because okay, first of all, males are really like the statistics, like they're more likely to do more violent crime or do
and they're more likely to do that against
females.
Trans women than they are to do it against females. Trans women are 4
times
the more likely
males.
to
we don't want males in our state.
Trans women are more likely to experience gender violence at the hand of males. So what you are at the hand of men. So you're saying because you're likely to experience violence, you should have your own space separate of cisgender men, but trans women should have to go back to the space that they were in with cisgender men, where they are likely to experience violence.
You can fight for a third space. I don't mind. But
okay, so they should have a third space.
Spaces.
They should have their own third space. So that space would be separate from the men and women's restroom?
Yeah, it's a family restroom, a unisex space.
Okay, would that space be equal to the other restrooms? Like, it would have the same type of facilities, same amount of bathrooms and everything?
Why wouldn't it?
Okay, so it would be separate, but it would be equal.
Yeah, so people who want female-only spaces can have female-only spaces. People who aren't comfortable with using the restroom or whatever assigned like thing for their sex can go into a third space. It's a win-win for everyone.
It would be separate but equal. You really don't see what you're doing there?
What?
You don't think we've tried that separate but equal thing before? Didn't really work out last time. Okay.
I can't hear you. I don't know what's happening.
So you didn't hear what I said about the separate but equal thing?
Yeah, what's your point?
When else in let's talk about America specifically. When else in American history did we do separate but equal bathrooms?
Do not compare this to race.
When else in American history did we do separate but equal bathrooms? I'm just asking a question. When did we do separate but equal bathrooms?
Gender is not related to race at all.
Didn't say it was. Didn't say it was. If you don't know what a fucking analogy is, I don't know what to tell you. I didn't say they were the fucking same thing, bro. I said analogy to compare 2 types of discriminatory practices, which would be separating people into separate facilities and saying that you have to have a separate facility. I don't know if you don't understand analogies.
That's related.
Holy shit, bro. Why is it that TERFs don't understand how analogies work? I just would love to know. Like, for real. You want to talk about there should be no, you want to talk about we can't compare like gender and race, yet white women really compared gender and race for a long fucking time, still do. You still have black women that
And
are
I'm not a white
barred.
woman. I'm a woman of color.
Did I say you were a white woman? Did I say those words? No. I was talking about the fact that gender and race are often correlated all of the time because one group of people have barred another group of people from womanhood historically for a long time. Black women have not been seen as women. Black women have been seen as men, as masculine, as not adopting the traits needed of femininity.
That's because it's a social construct.
No shit, which is why I'm not going to
Rooted in
tell
reality.
something being a social construct does not mean it's not rooted in reality. That would be a really silly thing to say. That's not how social constructs work.
I don't think I worded about it.
I would assume you didn't word that right. Because social constructs can and are oftentimes rooted in some form of reality. In fact, I can't really think of a social construct that's not rooted in some form of reality.
But humans make mistakes. We don't, like throughout history, like humans, first of all, we mostly like oppression and stuff based. People are usually trying to uphold like systems that benefits them in some way. Like, for example, feminism. Males benefit from women having like a lower, like having unpaid domestic labor basically while they do whatever. But in the long run, it doesn't like their views weren't actual, like they didn't make sense that much because it wasn't like it was just trying to uphold the system. It's not thing.
I don't know what any of those words mean when put into a sentence like that. I'm there. If there was a point in that sentence, I missed it.
Okay, I got nervous. Sorry. But I don't see why you're comparing race because black women are still women. They're still female.
Trans
That's
women
why
are
the
also.
category is based on sex.
I don't view women as having to be females. You're begging
Why?
the question.
You view it as the stereotypes instead?
No, I don't view women as stereotypes.
What is
either.
a woman?
A woman would be an adult human whose gender identity aligns with their personal schema on the female sex.
And what is that? What is the gender identity?
Gender identity is your subjective perception of your sex and how that sex is oriented in your body.
So give me some examples of what a woman is.
Yeah. I just gave you a definition of woman, right? I can't give you
Yeah,
examples of someone's.
You're not defining what a woman is.
It's not circular. That's not how circular definitions work. People try this all the time. Believe me, all the time. And people who claim that this definition is circular just don't understand basic psychological terms. Like when I say schema, what do I mean when I say schema?
What the hell is schema?
Exactly. So how can you claim a definition is circular when you don't understand words used in the definition? It's like you're going through the TERF playbook, my friend. Like you're literally just doing talking points without actually addressing the things that I'm saying.
So you're still not answering the question. What's making a male a woman that, like?
Because they would have a gender identity that aligns with their schema on the female sex.
Pardon?
Can you tell me, okay, let me ask you, what's the necessary condition to be a woman?
A woman is an adult human female. You have to be an adult, you have to be a human, and you have to be a female. A female is the sex that has the larger gametes, and they have...
Okay, so just confirming, large gametes are the necessary condition to be a woman. If you do not have large gametes, you can't be a woman.
Your body has to be oriented around, because there's two sexes, and that's just how mammalian biology works. Every mammal in existence has two sexes, and humans are mammals, so we can't change sex. We're not clownfish, we're not whatever argument that is. And even if, like, I'm not, like, even, like, intersex women, like, intersex people can be classified as either male or female.
You're missing the point here. If you are going to claim that there is a necessary condition to be female, that means there has to be a specific trait that all females share. There can be no exceptions in a necessary condition. So what is this specific trait that all females share that make them female?
Our reproductive system being organized around making the larger gamete, the egg.
So a female with vaginal agenesis that doesn't have a reproductive system, what would they be?
What?
Somebody who's a female who has vaginal agenesis, which can parlay itself in having no reproductive system. What would they be? They don't have a reproductive system to orient them to one sex or the other.
The body is still oriented around the reproductive system.
If they don't have a reproductive system, how is their body oriented around a reproductive system?
When we develop in the womb to be either like male or female, even if we don't have the system itself, like our hip bones, the way, the angle at which our thigh bone reaches our knee and our hip,
no,
all this different stuff.
No, friend. No, if they do not have a reproductive system, then their bodies are not oriented towards a reproductive system. You're just trying to fit stuff in because your necessary condition has an exception, meaning it cannot be a necessary condition.
There's two developmental pathways. Even if there are some rare mistakes, there's still either male or female.
A necessary condition can have no exceptions. Now I can say, when it comes to human development, I think you believe human development is way simpler than it actually is. It's not. There are hundreds of genes, hundreds of different traits that are going to express themselves throughout human development. And this idea that humans are just simply XX or XY is nonsense, because our cells
no one's talking about chromosomes.
Hold on. Because all these other traits are going to be determined by your chromosomes. Your reproductive system is determined by your chromosomes, specifically by the Y chromosome expression. So yes, you are inherently talking about chromosomes. Whether you believe you are or not, everything you said, reproductive system, that's not a sex determinant trait. That's a trait determined by your sex. Genitals is not a sex determinant trait. It's a trait determined by your sex. So the only trait that is the determining factor are going to be those X and Y chromosomes. Those are typically the ones that determine what the other genes will do and what the other traits will be. If you're not going to talk, I'm fucking done.